This is it.
Okay.
Let's go.
Yeah. So we'll just give it a few seconds. Sometimes I start the episode early, and then I lose track of uh, like when the recording kicks on because it hasn't gotten there yet. It misses the first part. So now it's showing that we're live. So welcome everybody back to season 6 of the Level Up Your Wealth podcast. We talk about the gaming industry from a business perspective. One of your hosts, Marcus Howard. Mario is joining us here shortly. You just saw him leave. He's having a little bit of a technical difficulty on his end, but he'll be back soon. And we are joined by Michael. Michael, you pronounce your last name Krivica?
It's Krivica. Yeah, there's different versions, but let's go with Krivica. That sounds good.
Okay. Excellent. Welcome to the show, Michael.
Nah, thank you for having me. Thanks for asking me to come on. So I appreciate it. And I watched your last episode last week, and I really enjoyed it very much. So it was great.
Excellent. We look forward to an awesome conversation. Let us know where you're tuning in from. We always love to give shout outs to the folks who support us. So we appreciate that. And before we jump into the conversation, we're going to play a quick game of rock, paper, scissors. It's a tradition for the podcast. So just a 1v1 real quick. Let me share my screen. Let us know in the chat who you think is going to win. It's the traditional rock, paper, scissors. It's anybody's game. Let me get this loaded up so you can see it. And it's first to 5 points. So we're going to get started.
Let's go. Let's do this.
All right. So that first round was a draw.
All right.
I've got an early lead.
Okay,
1 point. Like nothing crazy.
Okay. It's like that. Oof. Wow.
Grow that lead a little bit.
Ooh. Not doing
okay,
well.
Calm down. Oh, so, and I guess I didn't mention this earlier. If you look at the top and the bottom of the screen, it'll show you a history of your picks and my picks. So if this were to be a longer game, you get an idea of maybe what kind of pattern I would have. We're at match point.
Oof.
All right.
Extending this.
Here we go. Okay, so I got the 5 points first, but it was a great game. Awesome effort on your side.
First time playing. It was fun. That's awesome.
Yeah. Quick game. So we have this awesome video that we're going to share that's very specifically related to gaming, but you work in the film industry more broadly. Can you introduce yourself to the community for folks who have not met you and haven't seen any of your work? And then if you don't mind, after that, talk about some things they may have seen if they're not familiar with you, but some of your more popular projects.
Yeah, happy to do that. I've been doing what I've been doing for the last 13, 14 years almost. I co-founded my first viral video agency in 2011 called ThinkModo. We lasted about 8 years, and then we kind of shut it down, and I started a new company called Who's the Bald Guy. I'm totally going to just kind of show my little branding. Kind of continuing doing the same stuff. It's in the film industry, but really on the marketing side. So I did, bread and butter. What we do is really promoting entertainment clients, like theatrical releases, TV shows, streamers mainly now these days, just because that's where everything is. And every now and then I get to do a fun project for a brand. Like Verizon or Oakley or some others that are comfortable stepping outside of their comfort zone and do some wild stunt. But the thing I'm known for is doing these big, kind of large, loud, kind of hidden camera stunts, pranks, where we surprise people with oftentimes something supernatural. And what makes our work special is that we make these people believe, even just for a few seconds, that what they're seeing is real, or at least they're questioning it. So the video that most people like to reference, which is the kind of the most famous thing, is the telekinetic coffee shop surprise, a video that I've made in 2013 to promote the remake of Carrie, Stephen King's Carrie. So we staged a big stunt in a coffee shop in New York, and the props were rigged and the people were in on it, and then we surprised regular customers coming in and basically scared the shit out of them and made them believe that, she has telekinetic powers. She can send a guy flying up a wall and move tables and chairs and all kinds of other things go crazy. So that was the one kind of that really put us on the map at that time. And then a few months later, I followed it up with the Devil Baby Attack. So it was a demonic baby in a stroller, and again, scaring the crap out of people in New York City and doing all kinds of nasty stuff. So, and then I've just kind of been doing it and taking it up a notch, another one that I can drop is the Rings prank from the movie The Ring. We recreated the scene where the girl crawls out of a television in an electronics store, and again, it scares the shit out of so many people, and we captured their reaction thinking that this is, coming to life, basically this iconic scene. So and I clearly there's something wrong with me, but I love what I do, and I'm somehow very good at it. So I am, and clients keep coming to me. So there's that.
Excellent. If you don't mind, I'd like to share one of those videos. Are either of those on your website?
Yeah, so my website is a kind of like a mix of case studies and the actual videos. So I'm not sure what you want to show, but you can pick any.
Okay,
it doesn't matter. Yeah,
here.
there should be. If you want to show something recent, there's the stunt with Shannon Sharp that we did. That's a green thumbnail. Yeah, that was a really good.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the house. 3 bathrooms, open concept.
You want to make it larger?
This right here is the entertainment room. Take a seat. I really want you guys to get the feel of the room. The owner is such a big NFL fan. So how about we have some popcorn here, right? Okay. Check it out. TV goes up.
Oh, that's kind of dope.
Yeah,
though.
pretty sweet, right?
All right.
Yeah. Holy bro!
What the?
Yo, stay right there. Stay right there. I don't know what's going on.
Hit it. Go.
The NFL season is back!
Well, let me tell you something. If she was a quarterback, she'd be running for her life, Lauren.
I want to see a replay on this.
I agree.
Let's analyze this. It's the agility and speed, which is so impressive here. Defending his friend, unbelievable.
Watch his reaction.
The popcorn flying. I just don't know he was ready for this. Are you protecting him right now?
I need to use the restroom.
They thought this was going to be a lazy Sunday, but they did not see it coming. It is NFL Sunday, baby.
Okay, it's time for the big guns.
You're up.
You guys look like you love football. Sunday football.
We have someone that knows a lot more about football than all of us. This is his house.
Yeah.
Surprise!
Oh, Shannon, what's up?
Wasn't that exciting?
Shay, oh my God.
NFL football is back!
What's going on, Shannon?
Guess what? Courtesy of our good friends at YouTube TV, we're going to gift you NFL Sunday ticket.
No way!
Free. My man there.
So it's a little bit more relevant because the Super Bowl is coming up, and we kind of kicked off the season with this big stunt for YouTube and NFL. So it was super fun to work with these guys. But yeah, website is filled with other examples. And again, it's a mix of case studies to kind of show you, give you an idea of like how we went viral, who picked it up, and where it goes. But this is a recent one, so we don't have a case study for that one yet.
Cool.
Yeah.
Michael, that is so. I got questions now. That is dope. So like when you first started doing the viral videos, was it more about like the shock, or did you want to like you were studying like the psychology of a person? Because like for something to go viral, like something has to tick in your mind, right? So like were you guys just making videos and stumbled upon it, or was you doing like test studies first to see like what mentally makes a person tick to click the button or to continue to add, and then you started making videos from there?
I was inspired by something I saw online. That was, again, 2011. This is before viral video marketing was like a thing. I was one of the first players in the game. And I actually started with hoaxes. A hoax is something where you trick the viewer watching it, So we did our first video that was for a client. That was commissioned for a client. It was called the shaving helmet. And it was a helmet that shaves your head. You put it on your head, you push a button, and 20 seconds later it's shaved. We did it. We shot it in someone's bathroom on an iPhone, so you can actually see the guy recording in the reflection of the mirror. And I found these identical twins on Craigslist who just had like a moving company, right? And then we went viral. The video, everybody thought it was real, but I switched them out during like a very short moment. with the guy who his head was shaved when he took off the helmet. And crashed the website of the client, which was Headblade. It was a shaving kind of razor company. And that's kind of how I started. And I was always interested in like the psychology, as you mentioned, to like there's just something there where it's the internet, it's the Wild West, you can do anything. Those twins, they were the Lucas brothers, who now were Academy Award nominated screenwriters. They were in 21 Jump Street. They had their specials. They were at FX show. But I found them on Craigslist, and I used them first in my YouTube video. So I'm just going to brag about that I had a first opportunity to work with these guys, super, super talented guys. And then we just kept going. And, you know, one can say we got lucky, right? Or the other can say we just kind of found something that people didn't find, and we were the first ones to do it. And yeah, my first viral video was an iPhone app video where it was a demo that removes people's clothes in real time. So you can see people naked while you're running it, you know, that it sees through people's clothes. That too, it was a hoax. You know, I tricked the viewer into thinking it was real. That went viral. So I kind of started on those notes, and then things got better. You know, we got actual bigger clients, bigger budgets, and we kept doing these things that you just saw where we could just go batshit crazy, break a house in parts, and work with, you know, an NFL legend, you know what I mean? So it took a while to kind of get to that spot, but my background is filmmaking, directing, and editing. So I direct all these spots. So when I direct, my background is editing. So I kind of direct with editing in mind, how it's going to come together. And yeah, I just love that.
So what is the actual psychology? So like what in your brain is like, is endorphins? Like what makes a brain tick to click, right? Because like when you're scrolling on social media, on the internet, like something clicks there to make you click. And then the more you click, when it goes viral. So like what is that in your brain that kind of makes you do something to make something go viral?
Great question. And it's actually a two-part question. One should be like, for you, let's say you see a video, it shows up on your timeline, right? What makes you click? Well, now everything is autoplay, right? It just kind of starts playing by itself, right? You don't have to, back in the day, you had to click and it starts playing, but now it's just autoplays and you do doom scrolling. So it's very important that you hook the person within the first 2-3 minutes, right? So you want to show something incredible, like, wow, like with this case, what you just showed, you know, football players breaking through a wall. What the fuck's going on, right? I'm caught. Like, what? I need to see the rest of it, right? And then, more importantly, that after you watch it, you want to watch it again because, man, this was cool. I got to see this thing again. And then the third thing is that you want to share it with everybody you know, and that's where it becomes viral. So, yes, I don't know how. I couldn't tell you what really was the original spark, but there was something where I could see that I'm creating that causes this, that triggers this engagement online. It works really well. I would study what people would say about it. You know, I would really pay attention to how it's shared, because what is the copy that they're using? Would they question, is it real? Is it not? And that's kind of, it just kind of took a life on its own, and I just kind of rolled with it, you know what I mean? And kind of self-taught. When I graduated college, there was no YouTube University. There was no master in viral marketing. It didn't exist. So I just kind of taught myself, but I always enjoyed the kind of the trickery, you know, like making videos that catch your attention right away, and mainly visually too. Like a lot of people are now watching these things on their phone on the way to work, and you don't even have your iPhone, you know, your earplugs in, you can't even listen. So a lot of the stuff on my website, you can watch it without, you know, having to listen to a dialogue, because they're visually told. That's very important. So I just kind of always approach things that way. And yeah, I'm not some psychologist. I just kind of, there was just something that, I enjoyed watching it viral, you know, watching it go viral. There was something about it, and I studied it. Why? What is it? And there were things that didn't work, and I tried to understand what did I do wrong here? Why? What was it? You know, what gave it away, or what? Why more people shared that one than that one? And you know, it took a few years, but yeah, that's. I hope I answer your question.
Yeah. And so to that point, how many, and Marcus, please interject, but this is so interesting. So like, how many videos of trial and error did it take for you to get that first viral video that you talked about in the bathroom?
That's good. So when I made, so I started as a blogger. I was writing about ideas for advertising that I wish would exist. And then I kind of started sharing these, and I reached a point where I started actually making them. Instead of writing them up, I would just make like a super low budget version that my sister would shoot every time she would visit me in New York City. And then eventually I made one that went viral. And when that went viral, that was the nuded thing with the iPhone app. Then I said to myself, okay, if I can do this again, right? If I can repeat a viral success, right? If I'm able to predict that I'm making something that's going to go viral, and do it again and again, then I'm clearly onto something here. You know what I mean? I'm understanding a medium that is very new at that time, which was 2011. Actually, 2009 was the first viral video. So I did a few of those, and they went viral. There's many other examples. And then I reached a point where someone reached out and wanted to start a business. It was my business partner at that time, and I was like, all right, we can make a living out of this. This sounds pretty good, man. I was just getting married. It was kind of like a risky time, but we did it. We kicked it off with that shaving helmet, and then we did another one where we hacked Times Square billboards to promote a movie called Limitless with Bradley Cooper, because the guy took a pill and it made him super smart. So and that worked too, and all of a sudden we had one after another, so coming up with these ideas is something I really enjoyed. Directing these things was something I really enjoyed, really figuring it out. How do we do that, and then also editing. I love the editing part. So I would just really craft that thing. And then my favorite part was drop it on YouTube the morning of the launch. And it was always a brand new YouTube channel. It was never like the official, 20th Century Fox, with, 4 million followers, or Sony or Universal or Warner Brothers or whoever that eventually became our clients. It was just like literally brand new channel. And people didn't understand that strategy. Like, well, why? Why don't you want to drop it somewhere where there's like existing fan base already? Like, why are you putting it on a channel that has 0 views? A channel that was created the morning of the launch. And my idea at that time was like, well, because it feels like you discovered it. It feels like something new. It feels like it's real. It doesn't feel branded. It doesn't feel like there's like something behind it. You know what I mean? And even the branding was very, very soft too. It wasn't like, hey, go check out this movie. You had to kind of connect the dots in it, And then it just became like a formula that I kind of perfected over the years. And that's it.
And you did this with every video. So do you still do that now? Or since you now have the partnerships, you actually launch on their YouTube channel? Are you still creating new YouTube channels for every single video that's created today?
No, I don't. That used to be a strategy that worked when YouTube was the main go-to platform.
Okay.
Once Facebook came in the game with Facebook video, once Twitter joined, once TikTok and Instagram, then that whole game changed. I can no longer do that. That no longer works, that strategy. And plus, there is now billions of users opening brand new accounts every single day. So that doesn't work anymore. But at that time, that was that strategy. So now the process is that I just create the stunt. I create the viral video. I make maybe different cut downs, different versions, different aspect ratios of the same exact stunt for different platforms that are optimized. And then I just kind of hand over the final assets to the client. The client is like, we got it. We take over from here. You don't have to be involved. But I was very involved, or used to be involved, in kind of the distribution of the content as well, where I would line up an exclusive, on influential sites like Gizmodo or TechCrunch. Those are sites that are still around, but at that time they were like the go-to. Mashable. I did a lot of stuff with Mashable, and even on the TV side as well. We did a lot of exclusives with the Today Show. They always wanted to be the first one that we call. Like, what do you guys have coming up next? What's the next crazy thing? They didn't care what it was. They just wanted to be the first one to show it. Like, that's a great spot to be in. That too has changed over the years. But those mediums change, the interests change, trends change. They're all interested in something that people are talking about now. And but luckily this year I'm seeing. I don't know if you guys saw the Severance stunt in Grand Central Station for the show on Apple TV, Severance, but that's something that just gives me hope that it's coming back. The big interest in live stunts and activations like that. So and that's kind of where we're really good at.
Yeah, I think that show comes out tomorrow. I love that show, actually. I can't wait. Can't wait.
But before I ask any questions, folks are joining us live. If you have any questions, or if you're watching this after we finish the live stream and recording, let us know in the chat. And if it's after we're live, we'll get those over to Michael. You can answer them in the comments. But if you're joining us live, let us know. We see those questions. Want to make sure we get them answered. Michael, my question for you is, or I have a couple questions. Do you create the crazy idea and go to them first, or do they come to you and say, we don't care what you do, it has to be crazy? Or no, sorry, do they come to you and say, we have a crazy idea, can you do it for us? Or do you go to them and say, I have a crazy idea, will you let me do this?
Both. That's my answer. And when you say we, meaning the client, like
the client.
Yeah. There was so, for example, let me tell you a story of the Telekinetic coffee shop. That was part of a post that I did on LinkedIn, where that's an idea that I've had, and I pitched to other studios for their theatrical releases of movies that feature telekinetic characters. and they all turned it down. But it was Sony who took it because they had Carrie coming out, and they're like, you know what, that sounds really cool, let's do it. And then Sony, of course, never regretted it. But that was a case where I approached a client. We were lucky we got to talk to the right person, and that person was able to greenlight it and everything else. But nowadays, I'm kind of in the mercy of like just getting those calls and people networks of clients reaching out with new product launch, new show launch, or whether it's season 2, season 1, it doesn't matter. So they reach out, and what we do is they either sometimes already have an existing idea that they kind of like, or like a direction, and that's good. You know, we like working with that. Or they just give us a clean slate and say, hey, what can you come up with, you know, to promote this thing that we got coming up in back to school in September, you know. So we put decks together, we pitch it, and that too, pre-pandemic used to be all in person. Like I would fly to LA just literally for one meeting to pitch it to a room of executives. But now it's just all virtual. So it's just kind of the effectiveness of pitching has kind of been diluted quite a bit, you know, in the virtual space. Like a lot of people say the cameras are off. You don't even know if they're paying attention or listening. So that's been kind of like a more challenging part of the process. But overall, it's, they reach out, ask for stuff, and then they go for it. Just like that crazy stunt you just saw for NFL. That was just something that they really liked, and they're like, let's do it. Let's go crazy.
Okay. I want to look at the numbers really quick on like your first video that you did on your iPhone versus something you've done recently. You don't have to use the NFL because you probably don't want all that information, all the details to be in a live stream, but something else, right? You can anonymize it, the client, just to give a scope of like how much time you spent and how much budget went into it, if someone else is inspired by this episode.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, the timing, that's almost more important than the budget, to be honest, because the timing is something where you look at the stunts that I've done in the last basically decade. Those things take time to build. There are set builders. There are a lot of people involved with animatronics. We have to create prototypes that don't exist. You know, you can't just walk into Home Depot and buy thing, you know, animatronic from Wednesday. Like we have to build it. You know, it takes 5 months of like a team of engineers and very skilled and talented designers and just technicians to really figure out how we're going to do that. Because in the show, it's always CGI or it's a hand model and the arm is erased, so it doesn't really exist. So everything is unique. It's a one of a kind, and because of that, we typically ask for about 3 months. That's like a healthy time frame from green light on the idea to actually launching the video. So that gives us enough time to location scout, cast, build a thing, you know, shoot it, edit it. Like it takes time. And a lot of challenges that come our way is when we don't have the time. We can have the greatest idea, client is in love with it, they double the budget, they're like, let's do it, we love this thing, and it's like you reach out too late, you waited too long. Now we only have 4 weeks, but the thing takes 3 months to build, you know. So that's number one. And budget wise, you know, we started small. We started just to like make a name for ourselves, just to like break even and cover production for 10K, 50K, 100K. And now we're in the 6 figures, basically the mid 6-figure numbers where some of these stunts cost, depending on who you are, really. It's really the nature of the concept as well. Are you a startup? Are you an existing, you know, big Hollywood studio? Can you even afford it? You know, are you whoever else where we can even go over $1 million? We've done a few projects in that space as well, which was really exciting. But that's rare that someone, you know, kind of whips out that kind of cash. But overall, yeah, it's mainly, and by the way, not very small part goes into my pocket. Everything you see on screen, that's where the money goes. Like we really want to show like this NFL thing where we built a room that's attached to a house. And the challenge with some of our stunts is that we have to create these things in a way that are resettable. So because we have to shoot these things over and over again over the course of the day with different marks. So we have to reset it. And I know you want to at some point talk about the Warframe stunt, which is what you mentioned earlier. But that's another example where when you do it in a movie, you blow up a car. Well, once you blow it up, it's done. Maybe you have 2 more. Maybe you have 2 more cars like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then, okay, let's do one more take. Let's bring the other car and we blow it up. It's done. But in my world, we have to design and engineer all props so they're resettable. And we can take them and put them in different location. And that's a challenge. That's an incredible challenge to like design and engineer it that way. And I keep using those 2 words, but it's really, you got to work with very specific people on that.
From a to kind of step back where you said you used to fly and have face to face, from a creativity standpoint, do you find that you're more creative, face to face, is kind of just jamming it out per se, like a band, just kind of jam session and kind of just think about it in person? Or is it easy for you to do it virtual because you're in your own space? You can really think about it. You're not looking at people's reactions, like this might be a good idea or not a good idea because they're not showing their face on the screen. So like creativity wise, is it better to have those sessions face to face, or is it better to kind of have it via Zoom?
It's not so much a creativity thing, because by that time I already have the creative, I have something already that I want to pitch, but it's an effectiveness thing. And to me, I will always prefer to do it in person versus doing it virtually, because you can read the room. I'm there, I'm in person. I can answer questions live. You know what I mean? I'm here for you. Like, what do you need? How are we going to figure this out? Oh, you want to change this? That's fine. We can do that. So I can work the room. I'm really good with that, especially if it's filled with executives who are undecided, who don't know if they want to do that like that, and you lose a lot of that once you're just looking at a monitor. You can't, the effectiveness just really drops. So that's just like an unfortunate thing. And this is something I talk about with other people who are in the same space. They face the same challenges, of course, that it's the effectiveness of, communicating something properly, or even worse, where we don't even have an opportunity to pitch it. They just want to send the deck, and that deck just goes in the black hole. But I just spent a month working on the deck, using storyboard artists, illustrating everything and budgeting it out, calling vendors to get estimates and everything. And they don't even, and just, and ghosting is now a new thing too, where constantly being ghosted. Like you don't hear from a client after you give them what they want, and that's it, they're gone. So it got tough in that space. But
yeah, that sucks. I get that a lot with clients. I manage people's money, and we're making your money. You're not gonna call. Like, what's going on? Well, I just want to call when I need you. Well, you need to call when you don't need me. That's when we need to make some plans. But conversation for another day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we talked about a little bit the Warframe video. I'm sure a lot of folks who are watching this have already seen that because you shared it, and that's how you and I got connected. Is that it went viral on LinkedIn, and it's actually doing very well on my channel as well. I think I've gotten 20,000 views in 3 days. I think like 75 hours, 80 hours of view time for a 2-minute video. So more view time the amount of days it's been live. If you don't mind, I'd like to play just that behind the scenes video, and then we can talk a little bit more about that, because obviously this is a gaming podcast, and that's one of your projects. Before, as I'm queuing that up, have you done many of those? Is that your first client in the gaming industry? Where does that land for you?
It's my only client in the gaming industry. And the funny thing, and I'm glad you're asking this question, I wish there was more, because when we created this Warframe video, which did really well, the client was very happy, it performed extremely well. And it was not even launching the game. The game already existed, Warframe. It was just promoting. It was kind of tied to a special event as well. I believe it was E3, I forgot what it was, but there was some other tie in there as well. So it was just to kind of boost the awareness for it. And I believe you're going to show the how we did it video, because people already seen the actual video. But in the how it was made, you'll get to see some outtakes and some other stuff that tells you a better picture of like what it takes to create one of these things. But that was in 2019, I believe we did it, and it was an incredible experience, because the entire time when we were creating this video with the OptiCore, which is one of the weapons, the fictional weapons that's in the video game that we created in real life, and we tricked people into thinking that the weapon works in real life, which is fictional. And not just that, but that they pulled the trigger by accident and blew up a car in half, and they believed it. And that's what really made it fun. And it just felt like a perfect fit, for what I do and for the gaming basically space that is basically fantasy. It's science fiction. It's have fun, go crazy. You know what I mean? Like, it was the ultimate fit. And I wish I would have more opportunities like this. And we have many ideas like this where we want to really just have a lot of fun with real participants in real life.
Excellent. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Let's play this, and then we'll keep the conversation going.
Kaboom goes the car. Warframe set up a promotional photo shoot. I love this guy's reaction.
My bad.
무심결에 방아쇠를 당긴 건가요? 세상에. The idea was to create a real-life replica of one of Warframe's most popular weapons, the Opticore, and making people believe that it actually works. The weapon's recoil effect was synced with the other two props in the scene, so everything would go off simultaneously, creating the illusion that the user caused the damage. To pull it off, we teamed up with a custom fabrication shop. Their biggest challenge was to design and engineer all props in such a way that they can be reset, and reset fairly quickly. So we can repeat our prank scenario as many times as we want. The police cruiser was the biggest prop of all, but it was the Opticore which took the longest because it had to be built from scratch. Once all props were built and tested, they were shipped from California to New York City, where the production took place. The video was shot over 3 days in 3 different locations.
Oh, that was good. It was a nice little shake. Let's see it again.
The reset time for all props was 15 minutes. During that time, our crews had to reattach both car halves, which were held together by 2 large electromagnets. Both explosive effects were achieved with compressed air, which meant that a very noisy compressor had to be used to charge them during reset. Heavy rain became a challenge on one of our production days, but instead of stopping the production, we decided to continue shooting in a covered outdoor space.
So here are some reactions that didn't make the cut because the dark and rainy footage didn't match the rest of the video.
Nah, I hope not. Oh shit!
So these are just some bloopers that didn't make the cut, but it just kind of tells you how, you know, they bought into it. They bought into that reality that they really, it was them who caused the damage. So it was super fun. And then of course the side of relief that they didn't have to pay for it. It was fun.
His reaction was priceless.
Yeah, he was great. Super fun. Thank you for showing that. Yeah, that just kind of gives you a taste of like what it takes to pull this off, you know. And by the way, the guy who was in charge of the engineering, Scott Beverly, he's legendary. He made the Tumbler chase car scene in The Dark Knight. Like he shot the whole thing in a miniature model thing. He's just, I mean, his thumb is in Terminator 2 when he goes down to the lava. At the end, like that's his thumb. Like he was in, you know, we worked with James Cameron on that kind of effect. It was the outline for it. He's just he worked on the original Gremlins movie. He created the Gremlins that kind of they blow up when they go into water, when they're dropped in the pool, and then they start unfolding and turning into Gremlins. So he was been around for a long time, and for him, you know, working on a project like this, it was super fun because it was very non-traditional. Like he welcomed the challenge that, oh my gosh, because he worked with Christopher Nolan on Inception. He's the guy who built a whole miniature set where they blew up the building in Inception. That was him. Like that's the kind of guy who I'm lucky to work with, you know, and who just really loves this kind of job because it's so different from what he's been doing. He calls it gags. Oh yeah, I did a little gag for, you know, but now I'm like, no, it's not a fucking gag, dude. That's the most memorable scene in the movie. What are you talking about? You know, and he just downplays his stuff. I'm like, no, this is crazy. He created the Red Bull stratosphere jump. You know, where they released it. He figured out how to design that and have Felix Baumgartner, the astronaut, jump out of that. So just absolutely incredible talent. So it takes a village, and I'm just lucky that I get to work with these guys.
So I have to ask, like, so these are incredible. Like, so you never thought about like producing or directing a movie? Is that something that's in your wheelhouse, or you like more like the short? I'm not gonna say short because it takes a long time, but like more the commercials and the YouTube shorts per se.
No, great question. Not so much a movie, but more of a show, you know. And I've been kind of reading in over the years in the comments, you're like, hey, you should make a show. Like, there should be a show. Like, we want to see more. We want to see more, because I'm always limited by the running time of like 2 minutes or 2.5, maybe, you know. But there's so much amazing stuff we capture, and that's worth a show. And I was too in love with the short form version of it, where I'm like, I just want to keep going, and it's always refreshing. But I did reach a point now where I'm very interested in going and taking it and adapting it to long form. And creating, basically applying what I've been doing in the short form space to long form. And there's really nothing like it out there, you know, that has that kind of scale, you know what I mean, that kind of craziness. A lot of the kind of hidden camera prank shows that are out there are very campy and just kind of the format is sort of washed out, and, you know, it's very predictable. But this stuff, like, that would be cool to do it as a show. So I'm glad you asked.
Yeah,
Something
and
you could test drive on YouTube, like this video per se, for example, that's what I'm trying to say. You have like a 20-30 minute less abridged version of it that you could launch on YouTube and see what like the click-through rate or the amount of viewership, how much time they go through it.
I did test a sizzle. A sizzle is basically like a concept, of like what a show could be. And I did test one for basically it was like a spin-off of the Telekinetic Coffee Shop with a girl, but more of a humorous, more of a comedic element to it. And that did really well. We got 100,000 views on Twitter and lots of great feedbacks like, yeah, this make the show, it should exist. So there's quite a bit already I have as a sort of ammo to show that there's definitely interest in this. I just don't have the budget to make like on my own to make an extra like half-an-hour episode and do it in a way that I'm picturing because again, I want to make it very different from what's already out there, like very different. And the funny thing is that a lot of my videos have been shown on shows that show hidden camera stuff. Like Nick Cannon, he used to do before he had his like 50th kid, basically he used to do a show some Caught on Camera, I think it was called. It was something, and he would feature like big, and actually Warframe, I believe, was one of them. Then we did a super strong meter maid where we had a meter maid lift an entire yellow cab with the guy sitting inside, which was also engineered by Scott Beverly, the same guy who made the Warframe thing. So but yeah, I feel like momentum, right now, Hollywood is literally on fire, and maybe this is not the best time, but also at the same time, projects are being financed in a very different way, in a more kind of a branding approach. So maybe there is an opportunity there that I might explore this year to see if we can get something off the ground with a brand being attached. So yeah, I would love to.
Yeah, I think it's a great question, Marcus, because I know from like a monetization standpoint, like long form, like from like a second standpoint, like, you get monetized and you get more profit long form than the short form. Now, a little bit different because of course, if like they're doing the budget, then they might want the bigger cut. But if it was a way for you to have an investor come in and do something long form, I think monetary wise, that might be something. And to your point, if you're able to create something, it's on YouTube, it's yours, you have ownership of it. So then you can kind of have the direction. It might be a dud, but you like it, and it might be something that's great, so that kind of gives you the power being on YouTube compared to using other brands.
For sure. I mean, listen, my pitch is pretty damn effective. Like, listen, I'm the guy who made some of the most viral, most famous, viral videos in the world over the last 10 years. And now I want to make a show that does that. So who's interested? Who wants it? You know what I mean? Like, that's my pitch. So I don't know if that could be sold that way. There's probably a lot more to it, but like Mr. Beast right now, his show is taken off on Amazon. Of course, he's a completely different caliber, and he's done, a great job building a fan base over the years. But that is someone who started on social, who started, on YouTube, and now ends up on Amazon Prime with, I forgot how many million an episode it costs. But so there's some momentum in that direction that I like what's happening. So yeah, we'll see where it goes. But I would love to, for sure.
Yeah. You mentioned branded games. I just wanted to share this very quickly, unless I shared the wrong tab. Let me try that again.
And then Marcus, I can't see the comments, so my apologies if I'm not responding to the comments.
Oh, no problem at all. There's a new game. Why isn't it screen share here? It's called Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet, and they just announced this trailer, launched the trailer at the Game Awards back in December, so like basically 4 weeks ago. I'm not going to play the whole trailer here, but what I wanted to point out was when you get some chance or get a chance later, go watch this. They have brand placement in it from Nike, Sony, and Porsche. So definitely, or Porsche, I don't know how you pronounce that, but the car. Anyway, the car manufacturer. Those are already in game. They designed the game with that in mind. So when you talk about, brands who want to sponsor that like they're already putting dollars into the game, and those are real life brands that people interact with on a day-to-day basis. That's super smart. I mean, that's the way to go. Yeah. And the branding space, the gaming space have been very effective, in communities like Roblox, where, or Call of Duty, where you do cross promotions, partnerships, with Liquid Death and with Squid Game and whatnot. I mean, it's just that, to me, that's
that's the play. The gaming is such a universe, with so many opportunities for brand placements and some very clever activations. So absolutely, I'm not surprised. And I'll check out the trailer. I have not seen that. I've seen that Astrobot won Game of the Year, and I got it right after that. And my kids and my wife have been playing it like crazy, and they really enjoy it. It's a really fun game too. It's like almost like a PS5 version of Super Mario, and they did such a great job with it. So it's fun to enjoy it together. Yeah, really, really fun.
Yeah, cool. So what is next? So like what's the next project? I mean, I don't know if it's confidential. You have confidentiality clauses, but like what's some of the projects you're working on right now?
We're pitching a bunch of stuff right now because most of our clients are based in LA. A lot of things are on hold because of that. There were quite a few things we had lined up for Q1 and Q2, but these are now on hold. So right now we're pitching some other stuff, and it sounds awful that I'm complaining about that because some of these people lost homes and their schools and churches and grocery stores and everything. So it's just awful what's happening. So this is the last thing anybody needs to worry about, that some stuff is on hold on my schedule. But so there's nothing active in development because of that. But we're pitching some really exciting stuff for basically the second half of this year. That we're really pumped about. And again, my goal is to always like amp it up, like always like what I did. Let's get bigger, let's get louder, let's get crazier, or let's get more magical, let's get more sentimental, whatever the nature of the thing that we're promoting is. There's some other stuff that I posted on my LinkedIn where we every now and then I get to work with kids, where we get to do something a little bit more magical, something a little bit more, because kids buy into a reality quicker and much longer than adults. An adult you can trick, and we do a pretty good job with that, but at some point they're like, all right, this is not real, right? Like, but it's, but 2-minute videos, that's all you need to show wide spectrum of reactions, that they believe something supernatural was actually happening around them. But with kids, they stay in that world, in that mind for, half an hour. So they buy into that. We did a stunt for Spider-Man Homecoming, where back then Stan Lee was still alive. So we got to shoot his cameo for the stunt that we did in LA. And Spider-Man would come down into Starbucks. Starbucks was a brand partner, and grab his coffee when his name was called. You know how they call him, Grande Americano for Marcus, right? And then you would pick it up, right? And that's it. And they would say cold brew for Spider-Man. They're like, Spider-Man, what the fuck are you talking about? And then Spider-Man would come down from the ceiling upside down and pick up his coffee and go up. So that was like another fun little thing I got to do for Marvel. And there were quite a few. We were allowed to use kids. And when kids are there, because when adults see Spider-Man coming down, it's a fictional character, it's over, right? Yeah. But for kids, they're like, this is fucking Spider-Man. I'm like, how lucky am I that I get to see Spider-Man, and it's great. It's just the stuff you capture. It's amazing.
Yeah. So the use of artificial intelligence, has that hurt the creative space? Has it helped improve the creative space? How has AI either helped or hurt the space that you're in?
Not my genre, not what I do, but I see it, not hurting, but definitely affecting. And it's the shiny thing right now. I call it glossy horse shit because it all looks the same. I'm sorry for dropping a few F-bombs.
No, I like it. No, give it to it.
Go for it. Go for it.
Glossy horse shit. It all looks the same. My LinkedIn timeline is filled with it, and and some of it is impressive. Listen, there's some really creative stuff in there, but here's my take on AI, especially when it's used in the visual medium, like with pictures and videos, is that I think the misconception with AI is that it was always positioned as like, oh, it's just another tool, right? It's just another like I use tools on a daily basis, like Adobe, Premiere or Photoshop or whatever. Those are tools because they do exactly what I tell them to do, and they don't make any creative decisions for me. If I want to make an edit or dissolve or title tool, I use a title tool to make the title, but I decide the drop shadow, I decide the size, the color, everything. But with AI, it makes creative decisions for you. And then, I see like that. I just saw a dog running on the beach. It was all fully text to video, right? Using Sora, whatever latest model. Well, you didn't decide the angle of the sun and the fur and the move. It just makes it for you. And we're reaching a point where it looks really, really real. And I think there's a danger that we're getting too excited, in our industry that, oh my God, the possibilities, but nobody's really. It's the Terminator thing, right? It's just nobody's thinking about like maybe there's some problems that are coming our way where people can't differentiate. So, but for what I do, I have a very specific visual style with my hidden cameras and things like that, where it's it doesn't affect anything on my end. But I see concepts, I see music videos where, I don't know if you guys saw the music video that dropped a couple of weeks ago, where basically there were celebrities that are alive and celebrities that are dead. They were together in there. I forgot who they were, but like Frank Sinatra was in one, and I think
Frank Sinatra, it was Dr. Dre and
Oh,
Snoop
yeah,
Dogg.
the flowers. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Oh,
was
Snoop
the liquor
Dogg.
ad.
Yeah. That was a
Correct.
cool video. That was
I
good.
saw that. I'm like,
Yeah.
this now I see that potential here. Like, this
Yeah.
is cool. We could never do this before, you know, and it
Yeah.
looks so incredible. So, but yeah, you know, so to give you my short take, I'm not a fan because I've never used AI in ever. I just don't need it. And I don't like the idea of it. I mean, there's definitely, you know, a bias on my end, but my wife uses ChatGPT on a daily basis. You know, she's gonna send an email. It's like, okay, now take this email and make it sound really nice. You know, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I guess in your world you would need that. You know what I mean? So, but for me, I don't use it.
Yeah. Okay.
What are you guys take on AI?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm on a whole different spectrum. Like I use AI daily. I mean, my team, I have a nice, you know, size practice. My team probably uses AI or ChatGPT probably at least 15 to 20 times. Like when we run models for clients, we run AI models and we usually run like in between 5 to 10,000 simulations. Like if we invest this here or if the market goes down. So we really try to pinpoint your investment model and kind of when to get you in and out. So like we don't do it as if like it takes over the practice, but we definitely use it to kind of help with our decision making. And then of course, like my estate platform, Relax Estate, like we use AI to kind of predict after you. And so we do like estate planning. So like when you say, hey, this is my trustee, well, then we use AI to say, okay, if this is your trustee and you have your kids as beneficiaries, well, then probably your personal representative for your will is probably going to be your spouse, and then the same for your will, and then the same for your power of attorney, right? So we kind of use AI to kind of help answer questions for you per se. Now we have a prompt where you could delete and put somebody else in, but we definitely use AI. So we found that effective. So I'm actually fearful of AI though, because I think it's going to be where we won't be thinking anymore. We're just going to have AI do it for us. And like, that's what I'm scared of. But I think it definitely serves a point in society, but I don't want to serve at a point where like we're now using AI as a crutch to make the decision. Like we're scared to make a decision, right? Because AI is artificial, doesn't have like that human soul. It's soulless, right? So that's the only crutch. No, I don't think that's good for society.
Okay.
You
came back. We got you. We got you there at the end.
Yeah.
I think it's a perfect example of that is like the calculator, right? Like folks were saying that the fear of the calculator was like overblown, right? It wasn't as detrimental to learning as I don't know, the internet or whatever, maybe the pencil or pen. But maybe you haven't experienced this. I've seen folks at like a grocery store, like a cashier or wherever they're cashiers, who have counting back change because they're relying on the technology within the device to basically give them exact change or something. That there is a disconnect there because, as you mentioned, they rely on the technology as a crutch. And I'm not saying that happens in all cases or for all. That also, work with and connected to cashiers who understand how to change. But I'm saying I've witnessed it, and I have seen other people mention that they've witnessed it. So I'm concerned that same phenomena will happen with AI.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's the future. It's RoboCop, right? So I don't know if y'all saw on Facebook, but like now some like the Chinese government's now like using like robots, and they're using kind of AI to kind of think like what's going to happen in certain situations. I think that's happening. I think it's South Korea. So like and that's, like I said, like the troubling part. Like, we need kind of human intervention, and AI doesn't do that.
Was it a Tom Cruise movie where it was like he was a police officer and then he was using AI and then it turned on him or something? I forget what it was called. I don't know. I'll think of it later.
I mean, in the last Mission Impossible, that's actually AI is the enemy. So I don't know if you guys saw the Dead Reckoning Part 1. So he's actually fighting AI, which is very relevant. And in the next one that's coming out this year, I believe, the final reckoning for Paramount, then hopefully he wins. But so AI is actually the enemy in the last Mission Impossible movie, which is really fascinating.
Wow. So from everything that you've done, what was the longest time frame? So from like, I know the one with the shooter you said was 9 months. Was that the longest that it took you from start to finish, or what's the longest project?
The longest, I'm just going to grab my standing prop that I have here, was this. This was the longest. This was Think for Wednesday. We work with this amazing company called Raptor House Effects under the lead of Jesse Velas. He's the kind of the lead, project lead, and he was the only one, after we approached pretty much everybody in Hollywood to create this thing for our crazy stunt that we've done for Wednesday, where we released Thing in the streets of New York City. He was the only one to commit and said, yes, it's possible to do it in 5 months and with the budget that we had at that time for this project. But everyone else turned it down. They wanted a year. And usually when you do animatronics like that, there's usually 3-4 guys hiding under a table pulling pulleys. So it's not actually all fully self-contained, remote controlled, but that was what we needed. And his approach was unique, that he thought more MIT versus more traditional Hollywood animatronic kind of approach for it. And that's what made the whole thing possible. So that was 5 months. And because of that, it was 5 months. But usually it's like in the three to 3 months range. Yeah.
Now, have you worked with any international studios? Have they all been domestic?
It's mainly US based. That's a great question too. We've done a couple of collaborations with companies that are based in Canada, agencies, sorry. And through them, we did something in the US for the US market. But no, nobody from outside the US came to us. Yeah. We'd love to shoot something somewhere else. Yeah, for sure.
The reason why I asked, because like with your concepts, and I know anime, like my daughter, she's be 11 next week. Like anime is huge. Like, something anime related. Oh my gosh, that would be super viral.
Yeah. And it's funny, like you mentioned anime, like it doesn't matter if something is, let's say like a cartoon, movie or something. Like we promoted Seth Rogen's Sausage Party, the original movie Sausage Party. Now he has a show. But that too, when
amazing movie, by the way.
That's some really raunchy stuff there.
Yeah.
But that was an interesting challenge, because the entire movie is animated. And how do we promote an animated movie with something in the real world? So we basically did a stunt where we created replicas of grocery store items, like a cantaloupe and a piece of bread and a sausage, and replaced it and put it in the grocery. And then Seth Rogen himself, he would work with me, sit next to me, and he would voice these characters who would just like mess with people, And so there is a way to take something that's fully animated in a fully animated world and take it outside of that and create that just the client has to just be open to it, and a lot of times it takes that step outside of the comfort zone that allows us to get something. So when we kicked off season 1 of Cobra Kai on Netflix, now they're closing it with season 6. Back then it was still on YouTube before Netflix bought it and made season 2 and 3 right away. But we did this big karate stunt in New York City. And we added like a superhuman element to it, where a guy breaks a motorcycle in half, kicks a street lamp, kicks a fire hydrant, water starts shooting out. Really big, loud, noisy stunt. But it's in the show. It's everything is sort of based on actual physics. In reality, nobody has those kind of extra human powers. So we were able to convince them, like, let's add that extra supernatural power, and then it's going to go viral. So it's just stepping outside of comfort zone, and that's where the battle is really hard. And every now and then I get to win it, and then we have something really cool. And if I don't win that, you have to convince a lot of executives. A lot of times filmmakers are involved. Then it gets really sensitive because they're very protective of the IP of what they have created. So, but like with Tim Burton with the hand, a lot of people don't know, but this is actually molded based on Tim Burton's hand. A lot of people don't know that. So he actually had to approve it, and then we launched Wednesday the stunt.
Wow.
So yeah.
Wow. Well, I know we're coming up with time, so I have one more question. So if it's a young person who wants to get into the viral game or just do stuff on YouTube or Instagram, like what would be some tidbits of advice you would give them?
I'm not sure I have advice for them, because if they're starting today, with the tools they have, with the platforms they have, And with what works in that viral space, like, whether they just want to be like an influencer, like they're that personality that people want to watch, and you have a thing that you do that people want to watch, like baking cookies, right? Or like being, tech something. Then, you find your strength or humor or some kind of commentary or something, some spin, then kind of find that voice, and kind of build it out of that. I always started from the marketing feature. So from that side, of the business. So but I never approached it as an advertising kind of mindset. So I was always a filmmaker, and I always wanted to make cool shit. So my advice just would be like, whatever it is that you want to get into, make sure that you capture the audience right away, surprise them immediately, create something they haven't seen before. I know that's easier said than done, but just stay like fresh and surprising versus trying to mimic what other people are already doing, which is basically what AI is doing. Just find new, fresh things that people haven't seen, because a lot of sameness is in our feed, doom scrolling, and I do it myself too. We all sit on the toilet, we just go through the thing, like, I don't know, what am I? Oh, okay, that's funny. Oh, that was a little fun prank, So it's like, that's your window. Like, now that's your little opportunity to grab someone's attention. So something we haven't seen before would be good.
Okay.
I wanted to share the opportunity with you. I don't know if you're familiar with DICE.
Yeah.
DICE is a summit that's in Las Vegas. It's going to be next month. I don't know if that fits for your schedule, but DICE, I think, a great opportunity if you wanted to see if you could connect for more opportunities in the gaming space. Executives. It's a kind of executive leadership event. So that's a great opportunity to, even if you could do a smaller scale version of one of your existing activations, because when people can see it and see the reactions of the people, that might inspire them or get them excited about how they might adapt the skill set that you have for what they're trying to work on. So it's something to consider. You probably couldn't put together one of your builds between here and February 11th, right? Because you said you need 3 months, but maybe for like DICE 2026.
That would be challenging, yes, to do it in that time frame. But first of all, thanks for the suggestion. And DICE is actually on my radar. Last year I kind of got into speaking gigs because that's something people encouraged me to do. So I did my first South by Southwest talk, and it kind of worked out really well. And I filled the room. People showed up, more interested, and I got another talk out of that. And so that's something that I don't know. People just enjoy hearing the stories, especially the backstories of something that they have seen. Yeah. Like, oh, I had no idea. It took so many challenges to pull this off. Because what you see on screen is very controlled. I'm picking I'm deciding what I show you, but there's so much other stuff that you don't see, it's so people enjoy hearing these stories.
Okay.
But thanks for
hopefully that works out for you in the future. We're running up on time here. I want to be respectful of your time. Thank you so much for all of the great stories and the insight and the advice. We always like to give an opportunity to the guests to share where people can find and connect with them. So, Ryan, can you share where folks who are viewing either live or later, where they can learn about you, connect with you, learn about your work, your studio? We had mentioned it earlier, but just as a recap.
Sure. I mean, the best place to go is just our website. Like, it kind of does a really great job summarizing the work we have done over the years, whether it's, again, case studies, behind the scenes footage, or the actual videos, and then some other stuff there as well. So if you go to who'sthebaldguy.com, that's really like the go-to thing that I would recommend, which is that it used to be my, a lot of people ask me like, well, why that kind of crazy name for a company? It used to be my alias when I started, before I had a company, and then, I kind of put it on hold. That's how you would always find me on YouTube. It's always Who's the Bald Guy. When I play Call of Duty, it's Who's the Bald Guy, by the way, if you guys go into that. So find me, and I'm awful. I'm a camper. I'm the guy with the sniper rifle that everybody hates and bitches about. Like, come on, let's go, Who's the Bald Guy, let's go. But when I get him, when I take out the whole team, then all of a sudden everybody's quiet. But yeah, who'sthebaldguy.com, that's probably the best place to go to kind of find more stuff that I've done. And my favorite part is when people start connecting the dots. It's like, oh, wait a minute, you're the guy who made that thing and that and that. Like that, I love that moment. Instead of like wax on, wax off, like it's all coming together now, So so go there and check it out. But and then you can also reach out to me there too. There's a contact page. I get every email in my inbox, so feel free to reach out.
LinkedIn as well, which is how we got connected.
And LinkedIn, of course. Oh, yeah, same thing. Yeah, just Google my name. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent. Well, we look forward to the next couple of projects you have that you're working on. Mario, where can people find and support you?
Yeah, definitely. You can find me on Instagram at Payneful Profits, PAYNEFUL Profits, because we make money. It can be painful, but it's profitable. Or our estate planning platform, The Relax Estate, where we help you automate, create your trust, your will, your power of attorney in less than 30 minutes.
Excellent, excellent. And everybody, thank you for joining. You can find and follow and connect with me on LinkedIn, Marcus Esports Howard. We appreciate your time, whether you're watching live or the recording. Let me know if you have any questions for Michael or Mario. I'll be happy to get those over to them. And we will see you again next Thursday in the next episode of the Level Up Your Wealth podcast. Thank you for your time. Y'all have a great week.